Now, as I said, you're just hearing me say that won't mean a thing in the world unless you begin to look around in your own experiences, take inventory, and watch what happens in the future. There'll be things happen to you in the future that are unpleasant, and maybe some to me too. But I tell you what I'm going to do when anything unpleasant happens to me. I'm going to immediately transmute it into something pleasant. Immediately. And then I'm still talking about the fundamentals of faith. Self-respect expressed through harmony with one's own conscience is certainly an important factor in applied faith. Self-respect expressed through harmony with one's own conscience. Isn't it a marvelous thing that the Creator set up in everybody a judge advocate that tells you the right thing and the wrong thing? You don't have to ask anybody. Isn't that a marvelous thing? You don't have to ask anybody what's right or wrong. Your own conscience tells you. Unless you convert it into a conspirator instead of a cooperator by choking it off and not responding to it, as so many people do. Your conscience can be not only a guide, but it can also be corrupted to where it's a conspirator. It'll help you cover up your meanness. And a lot of people use it for just that purpose, too. Believe me, they have it choked off. If that weren't true, there couldn't be so many brutes loose in the world today, concocting plans for starting bigger and better wars. They have no conscience. They've killed off the conscience. That conscience is a marvelous thing. And next, to create a mental attitude favorable for the expression of faith. Now, here's what you do. First of all, know what you want and determine what you have to give in return for it. Know what you want in life. And I mean not only in your major purpose, but in your minor purposes. What kind of a house you want to live in? What kind of a car you want to drive? What kind of a wardrobe you want? What kind of an education you want your children to have? What kind of a present you're going to buy your wife for a birthday? And you better be sure to buy her one every time if you're going to keep on good terms with her. What kind of a cake are you going to bake for your husband on his birthday? And you better make it a good one. Did you know, ladies and gentlemen, married ladies and gentlemen in particular, did you know it's not the big things in the relationship between a man and his wife that counts, but it's the little niceties, the little things that count. Well, it's the little niceties, the little things that my wife cooks up for me. Now, I don't mean in food, but the little parties, the little visits, the trips that she cooks up for me when I'm home. They don't amount to so much in one way, and yet another way they're very sentimental, and keeps that relationship alive that we had before we were married. We're still courting each other. I think I do more of a courting job now than I did before, because after all, I not only got her, I have to keep her. That's important. Well, we have a lot of fun with these off-the-cuff remarks. Not that you don't find any of that in the notes at all, but but I just know that these are very super intimate things that make joy in my life would be just as acceptable in your life too. I know it's the little things in your life that make the difference between the happiness and unhappiness. And next, when you affirm the object of your desires through prayer, let your imagination see yourself already in possession of the thing that you're going after. Now that, you might say, that takes a lot of willpower, a lot of determination, but if you keep at it, you'll find it's not so hard to do. In the first place, it's easy for me to do that because I never go after anything that I haven't first sold myself thoroughly on the idea that I not only have the right to get it, but that I am going to earn that right by giving something in return. And that's the best salesmanship in the world. When you go out to sell a person an idea or a merchandise or a service, if you know positively that you're going to give him his money's worth and more too before you start, it does something to you that enables you to do something to him, that enables him to, in return, do something for you. It's the very acme of master salesmanship. You know, I've said this, ladies and gentlemen, several times, and at the risk of being boresome to you, I'm going to repeat that if you want your prayers to be effective, don't wait until the time of need to utter them. Build up the habit of prayer when you don't need anything. And what do you pray for then? For what you already have. You give gratitude for what you already have, don't you? Wouldn't it be an interesting thing if I gave you a lesson assignment right now to write down before you go to bed tonight, everything that you have in this world to be thankful for? And I'm giving you that assignment, every one of you, and I want you to carry it out. It's going to be one of the surprises of your life. You may have a lot of things you don't want, but you have a lot of things you do want. Write down a list of them and express gratitude that you have these things that you like. And you certainly can start with the fact that you're associated here in a country where you have freedom of speech, freedom of action, freedom of thought, and freedom of opportunity. Certainly that would head the list. Because in other countries we don't have that much. And then you could come right on down from that and put down all the things that you have to be grateful for, and then start in expressing gratitude every night and every day. Keep your mind open for guidance from within. Now, what do I mean by that, do you suppose? Yes, hunches. You'll get hunches. Don't be, what is the word I want to use? Disrespectful. Don't be disrespectful of hunches. Treat them with civility. Examine them. And you may find that some of these very unusual hunches that you come are bringing you messages that you need to get you over the hump in whatever it is that you're doing. And when you are inspired by hunches to move on some plan created by your imagination which leads in the direction of that which you desire, accept the plan and act upon it at once. And remember always that there can be no such state of mind as faith without appropriate action. Faith without deeds is dead. And when overtaken by defeat, as you may be many times, remember that man's faith is tested many times, and your defeat may be only one of your testing times. Isn't that an astounding and an encouraging thing to recognize that when you're meeting with defeat, that probably in the eyes of your Creator, you're only being tested to see whether you're a man or a worm? And believe you me, we all go through that testing time. And the ones that survive these tests and come out on top with an abiding faith are the ones that become truly great in life. I don't think there's any doubt in the world but what it's a part of the Creator's plan to see that everybody that amounts to anything above mediocrity must pay the price of undergoing test after test as to his faith. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I see evidence everywhere that that's true. Any negative state of mind will destroy the power of faith and result in a negative climax. Your state of mind is everything. Why do you suppose that in my notes here you notice that I have underscored your state of mind is everything? I underscored for emphasis. Why do you suppose I wanted to emphasize that statement? That's right. That's the only thing you have control over. The only thing in this world that you have control over is your state of mind. And certainly that connotes the fact that the Creator intended that to be the most important asset that you have, and it is, because with the use of that mind, you can project it into any objective or to the attainment of any end you choose. Your education, your background, your nationality, your creed has nothing whatsoever to do with your ability to achieve. It's the state of mind that you maintain. That's the thing that determines how and what and when you achieve.